Welcome back to the Rebuilding Us project series. This is part 2. In the last episode, we discussed why relationships break down and how rebuilding relationships is possible with the right tools. Today, I want to go deeper. I want to talk about why so many people give up on love. I want to talk about how even though a person may be experiencing love, why they may be tempted to walk away. Why? Because maybe they don't experience and see a partner's actions as loving. I want to talk about what I call all-encompassing love and why you shouldn't give up on it. I've observed that many people don't even know what all-encompassing love is. I certainly didn't. It was one of the biggest paradigm shifts in my own personal growth and transformation. See, I thought love was supposed to look a certain way, feel a certain way. I thought it was supposed to be blissful all the time. I had a romanticized, idealistic way of looking at love and relationships. I wasn't wrong for wanting my vision of love, but if I'm being honest, I think I was more married to embracing the love that fit my idea of what love was, and not so much married to my partner, to my wife. And so I struggled when my love life didn't fit into that sweet little box with the bow on it. Sure, I knew there would be disagreements at times. I knew we wouldn't always get along. But I believe that because I love this woman and we had similar beliefs, I would always feel positively toward her. I didn't understand the deeper psychology of relationships. I didn't understand emotional blueprints. I didn't understand how nervous systems reacted. I didn't understand attachment patterns, unspoken expectations that we had for one another, and all the nuances of how life and people operate. So when conflict resolution didn't play out the way I imagined, when I experienced breakdowns in communication as if I was talking to the wall or screaming into the void, when I encountered situations I never planned for, when I felt I was losing control of my relationship, when I failed to see that relationships require maintenance of the emotional atmosphere, being that I approached everything more so through a logical lens, my marriage struggled. And it slowly began to break down to what felt like the point of no return. Or so I thought. What I came to realize is this. Many people give up on love, or what I call all-encompassing love. Not because they don't want it, but because they misunderstand it. They think, or I think, many people think, that love is merely passion, or sexual chemistry, or being in a blissful state, having a easy relationship where it's smooth sailing. You know, all that romanticized parts you see on TV and movies and on social media. They don't take into account that sometimes love pushes, sometimes love pulls, sometimes love confronts, sometimes love forces you to stretch and grow. It's the same kind of love a parent shows a child, the same kind of love a sibling shows someone they don't want to see self-destruct, the same kind of love a partner shows when they want better for you than you want for yourself. And when that love is carried out imperfectly, when good intentions are expressed the wrong way, it can be misinterpreted as disrespect or as a lack of warmth. But sometimes what feels like criticism is a desperate attempt at connection. Sometimes what feels like conflict is a fear of losing what matters most. And so, we fight for it. All-encompassing love is not naive love, however. It's not blind love. It's not ignore the red flags and call them pink kind of love. It's not self-sacrificing to the point of losing yourself. All-encompassing love is love with wisdom. It embraces the paradoxes of life. It understands that two things can be true at the same time. That love can be strong and gentle. That forgiveness can exist with boundaries. That commitment can exist with honesty and transparency. It balances its decisions because it understands that life is built on dichotomies, not extremes. Real love lives in the tension between strength and softness, truth and grace, loyalty and growth. And when you understand that, you stop expecting love to feel perfect all the time. You start expecting it to be real. It's the kind of love that makes you say, even though we're not getting along right now, I can still sense that you care, that you still love me. And it's the same kind of love that makes one do a self-analysis and say, I can see why I love you, and I can feel that I love you. It's the kind of love that, though it doesn't love perfectly, though it doesn't always represent itself well, though it doesn't always manifest in the way we expect it or even desire, if you truly look for it, you could see it. Then you can acknowledge it, and hopefully you appreciate it. It's the kind of love that recognizes anger or an argument not simply as hatred, but as a cry for love and attention at times. The yelling, the harsh words, the emotional intensity, maybe it's not justified, but they are signals. Signals to decipher how much someone cares, how afraid they are to lose you, or how afraid you are to lose them, or how threatened you or they may feel. When aspects of our life or relationship feel threatened, our nervous system reacts. Understanding that changes everything. It doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it gives you context. And context creates compassion. The problem is this: when people get hurt, they don't usually choose understanding. They choose protection. And protection often looks like the emotional walls and choosing to break away from this intense situation for more casual connections. They choose to avoid depth and choose transactional love or transactional relationships so as to minimize the intensity and the discomfort that they feel. They may say things like, or they may think things like, I'll love you as long as it feels good. I can't and I won't depend on you. And I won't risk being hurt again. Sure, it feels safe, but it isn't fulfilling because shallow love cannot meet deep emotional needs, deep psychological needs. When we stop believing in deep love, something shifts inside us. We may even start questioning our own worth. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe love doesn't truly last. Maybe I'm safer alone. Or maybe I'm safer just having a good time and not getting too deeply attached. So we isolate. Not because we don't want connection, but because simply maybe we're afraid. Or simply just don't want the stress and discomfort. And fear becomes the architect of our relationships moving forward. Healing changes how you see people. Before healing, everything feels personal. Everything feels like rejection. Everything feels threatening. After healing, you begin to see things through a different perspective. You see immaturity, maybe the same immaturity you saw in yourself. You see their fear, maybe the same fear that you felt. You see the unhealed wounds, and you see patterns people aren't even aware of. You don't excuse destructive behavior, but you do stop internalizing it, and that frees you. It frees you from insecurity. It frees you from self-doubt. And it frees you from carrying pain that isn't yours to hold on to. Hope isn't pretending everything will magically be okay. Hope is disciplined. Hope says, I will choose to become wiser. I will be stronger. I can love better. I'm going to choose healthier relationships and healthier ways of thinking. I will not let my past define my future. And when hope is paired with tools, knowledge, and understanding, it becomes power. Power to change your dynamic. This is why we go deeper. We don't just talk about communication, we talk about identity, emotional regulation, setting boundaries, learning why and how to forgive, rebuilding trust the right way, and how rebuilding relationships is possible with the right tools. You need both. You can't just be logical and not pay attention to the emotions, and you just can't be emotional and not pay attention to logic. You need both. It's a dichotomy. All-encompassing love is real love. It says, I love you as you are, and I love you enough to want what's best for you and for us. It's not passive. And though it may feel fragile, it actually is relatively strong. It's strong enough to endure, wise enough to adjust, and brave enough to try again. If you've been hurt, if you've been disappointed, if you've been afraid to believe in love again, it's okay. Because things happen. And I understand. Your heart is guarded. Your mind tells you all the horror stories and all the things to watch out for. But your heart and mind can learn to love again. It can be stronger. You can be wiser. And you and your partner can be healthier. And it can make the relationship itself healthier. So don't give up on depth. Don't settle for shallow. Don't trade protection for connection. All-encompassing love is still possible, and it starts with healing you. Thank you for being here. This is the Rebuilding Us project, and I will see you in the next episode. If you love each other but struggle to communicate, if past wounds or future fears are creating tension, or if you're an individual ready to grow, reconnect with yourself in a way that heals, this is for you. Most couples don't fight because they don't care. They fight because they don't know how to evaluate and communicate emotions when pressure is high. When you're tired, when you're hurt, when something deep down inside gets triggered, that's when things start to fall apart. I help couples and individuals build emotional intelligence under pressure, so that when we are faced with conflict, we approach it with clarity, rather than approaching it in a way that causes collateral damage. Here's how I work. First, we start with a free 15 to 20 minute call to understand what's really happening underneath the surface, and to see if we're a good fit for one another. If it makes sense to move forward, we'll do a $60 clarity session where we break down your patterns and build a real plan to help you move forward. And if you want deeper support, I offer ongoing coaching for individuals and couples. This isn't a space for judgment, no taking sides, and no generic advice. Just practical tools you can use right away, based off of your situation. If you're tired of repeating the same cycle, message me clarity. Let's unpack what's weighing you down and free you up to enjoy what's to come.